What we're trying to do is, one of the things we do here is we're constantly looking at the platforms where we're actually putting our clients' money, and then we're keeping an eye on platforms that may be up and coming.
The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. Just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast focused on gaining your business a competitive advantage by eliminating marketing confusion and making your digital marketing work for you. I'm Matthew McGroarty, the social media content producer here at Comexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner at Comexis.
And I'm Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Comexis.
So during our last two episodes, we did a lot of things that have led us to today's topic, which is the buyer's journey. So we talked about the state of the industry, the different confusing factors there are, and we've clarified that the lifetime value ratio, which is part of the lifetime value of your clients and customers and your customer acquisition costs, how they all come together to give you the goal of hitting a 3-to-1 lifetime value ratio, and determining there then that you should be spending 50 to 65% of your marketing budget on digital marketing. So now we get to answer the question, how do we use that 50 to 65% of your digital marketing budget? And that's where we come to now with the buyer's journey. So Len, can you talk about what the buyer's journey is?
So the buyer's journey are the 5 phases the modern buyer is going to go through before they make a purchase or retain you for your service. There is the awareness stage, the consideration stage, the purchase stage, the retention stage, and the advocacy stage.
So Len, can you tell me a little bit about the awareness stage?
The awareness stage is where an individual becomes aware of a problem or aware of a product or service, aware of a need. So the awareness stage is kind of like the old school, put a billboard in front of somebody, put a radio ad in front of somebody, and they become aware of the actual problem or need that they have. Places like Facebook, YouTube, Google Display, Instagram, other types of social media platforms like LinkedIn, like Twitter, like Snapchat, like TikTok. Places like this are where people become aware of your product or service digitally online. And we can't forget digital radio platforms like Pandora and Spotify and so forth.
The second stage in the buyer's journey is the consideration stage, and that is where somebody is now aware. So from the awareness stage, they're aware of a problem they're having or of your product, brand, service, and they're now looking into and researching solutions to their problem, or they're looking into your brand to see how you can help solve their problem. So platforms typically are Google, specifically within Google pay-per-click, because they're searching typically on Google to find the solution. YouTube, Facebook, and a little bit of email marketing. And I say a little bit of Facebook and email marketing because somebody might be coming to your Facebook to find your hours. Somebody might be coming to Facebook to find your phone number. An email might remind them that, I was looking for this solution and here it is in my inbox, whatever, et cetera.
And then Facebook and Instagram and even Google Display is just that's all retargeting. So
yeah.
they do play in here, but it's not like they're searching for you. Now we're just staying in front of them as they're in that consideration phase.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the third stage of the buyer's journey is the purchase stage, which is very simple enough. It's when this customer is making a purchase, buying your product, subscribing to a subscription service, signing a contract, whatever involves the customer going in and physically making the purchase after they've become aware of the product, they've considered it, they've done all of their research, and then they finally came in and made the purchase. So some platforms you could use is Google, Facebook, email marketing. Basically, what the important part is that in your messaging, you're asking, you're really emphasizing, buy now, give discounts, any way to basically bring along that that this customer wants this product, they've become aware, they've considered it. Now you're ready for them to really come in and purchase and
Get them through the funnel.
Exactly.
Finally.
And the most important part of the purchase phase too is making sure that your website is ready. So if you're an attorney, you want to make sure that you have a live chat button ready, you have working contact forms, you do have calls to action on the site, schedule a free consultation right now, we have payment plans, fill out information. So in the purchase stage, this is where your website, this is where the time to shine is, because ultimately a purchase, whether they're buying a product via e-commerce or they're calling you for an appointment, it's going to happen most likely via your website, especially if you're in a service-based industry like an attorney or a doctor and so forth. So the website at this stage really, really plays an important part of this.
Absolutely. Len, can you tell us about the retention stage?
Retention stage factors into clients where you have clients that are in a reoccurring revenue type model where they're actually paying you monthly, or maybe they're clients where there's a lifetime value where maybe they're not paying you monthly, but they will bring you in for your services or go to you for services over the course of a year or two. And this is ways in which you can market these individuals. Platforms that live into the retention stage are very much actually a lot like the consideration phase. It's heavy on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, things like that. You can even do Google. You can even go somewhere like YouTube, and you even have email marketing. And a critical thing here is you want to be able to market to your clients maybe new services you have or tutorials on services you have and so forth. So the retention stage is really making sure that you're marketing to that client to make sure that you're completely living out the lifetime value of that client and eventually getting them maybe to re-up with you as a client.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you brought up a great point. If you have a subscription-based model or a retainer or something, it's good to keep people informed and make sure that they are consistently thinking about you and are satisfied with your services. But even if you have a client who you had a year ago and maybe they're not a retainer anymore, but like if you're a law practice, for example, maybe they had a case and after that case finished, they didn't need your services anymore, but they might in the future. It's good to keep them top of mind with your email marketing, on your Facebook, with your organic posts, et cetera, et cetera.
It's just and it's offering great stuff. I mean, things like webinars. It's like maybe you could have a live workshop of the latest tax laws and how that would impact you. And just making sure that you're marketing that and you're staying in front of them across all the platforms they're historically on, which are the social media we just said and things for. So it's funny because the retention phase does kind of mirror the consideration phase and does mirror the awareness phase where you're trying to stay aware in front of the clients who already know you.
Absolutely. And then finally is the advocacy stage. And this is simply just your previous customers or your current customers advocating for your brand in some way. Normally that takes place in reviews or on comments or posts on social media. Sometimes that is word of mouth to friends that you'll never know and never see. And sometimes it can just be getting your customers and clients to give you testimonials and reviews in general. So the idea here is you have customers, they're talking about you positively, and sometimes that involves review curation, asking for testimonials, creating testimonials. If you know you did some really great work for a client, don't be afraid to put it on your website, because at the end of the day, a lot of the things in the advocacy stage, like reviews and testimonials, play into the entire part of the buyer's journey, but especially into consideration and purchase, because in consideration, somebody's considering your brand, they want to see how you stand up, and then in the purchase, sometimes that can push them to actually make the purchase because now they are confident in your brand and in your service and in your product. So Len, can you talk a little bit, now that we've covered all the stages of the buyer's journey, can you cover a little bit about why we talk about certain things on this podcast and just why we do this podcast the way that we do it?
I think we do this podcast because what we're trying to do is, one of the things we do here is we're constantly looking at the platforms where we're actually putting our clients' money, and then we're keeping an eye on platforms that may be up and coming. So right now, we believe all clients should have 80% of their digital ad dollars tied up in Facebook/Instagram, Google, and their properties. 80% of all ad dollars should be there. 20% should be allocated to the other platforms. Again, that could be a Spotify, a LinkedIn, a Twitter, and so forth. What we do is, from looking at news that's coming out about all of these ad platforms, and then potentially earnings reports, which we really heavily lean on, we're looking for indicators where we may need to start moving that money. It's funny because on one of the last podcasts, we were saying how we actually believe Google, Facebook, we may kind of bring that back to 78% to maybe 75%, because we think Twitter, for certain industries, like lawyers and so forth, are actually beginning to make a nice little push into marketing, and that it may be time to allocating some of the funds. So we almost look at the way we break up how a digital marketing campaign should be. We break that up almost the way a mutual fund manager would break up their stock allocation. We're going where all the money is right now. So the reason we are at 80% on Facebook and Google is because we know it's the highest ROI. It is people or companies are going in there and they're actually spending the most sustained ad dollars, and it's actually people have the most screen time on there. So things like that are what we're looking for. So that's why we have this podcast, to kind of talk to people how we're thinking about it, and then it shows our current asset allocation on where we need to be for advertising.
Absolutely. And it gives us great insights on sort of the different developing things that might be able to take up that other 20% of your digital marketing budget. I mean, again, we talk about Google and Facebook being, the big 80%, but there's always smaller platforms and different things that we can give, a couple percent here, 5% there, et cetera, depending on the industry and what's right for your business. And that's just a great way to stay informed and really make sure that we're giving our customers and our clients the best service that they can, and making sure that we're staying up to date and on the know about everything we need to know. And that's what you need to know. So we're obviously, there's tons of episodes of this podcast. We hope you've enjoyed these last 3, where we've really broken down the lifetime value ratio, why it's so important, and all of the things that go into the buyer's journey. So check us out again next week for more podcast excellence. That's all for today's episode. Check us out on Comexis.com, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcasts, and follow us on Twitter at buyers_journey. Thank you.